You've definitely heard the phrase, what goes around comes around, right? But what if karma was way, way more than that? What if it was the literal, unseen blueprint shaping every single moment of your life? In this explainer, we're going to dig into some ancient wisdom to uncover a version of karma that is so much more powerful and honestly more profound than you've probably ever imagined.
Let's just start with a really powerful idea. Just for a second, imagine that every single thing you do, every thought that pops into your head, carries this immense, tangible weight. A weight that could literally rival a mountain. It's a heavy concept for sure, and it perfectly sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll try to get our heads around the sheer scale of karma's power. Then, we'll see why it's a journey you have to take completely on your own. After that, we'll untangle the mystery of its timeline. When do things actually happen? And finally, we'll see how all this knowledge can actually become a guiding light in your life.
Okay, let's dive right into karma's overwhelming power. To even try to describe how massive this concept is, ancient teachings had to reach for these huge cosmic scale metaphors. So let's explore the 3 most powerful ones they came up with.
Here are the 3 main characteristics we're going to unpack. You can think of them as 3 different windows looking out onto the same incredible force. One that's as mighty as a mountain, as deep as the ocean, and as solid as a barrier you might run into.
First up, mighty as a mountain. Now, to get this point across, ancient texts used the biggest, most powerful image they could possibly think of, Mount Sumeru. In their view of the universe, this was this mythical, unbelievably huge mountain right at the center of everything. The message here is crystal clear. Our actions, our thoughts, our intentions, they don't just disappear. They pile up, creating a force with its own kind of gravity that pulls on our reality.
Next, karma is deeper than the ocean. I mean, picture the absolute deepest, darkest part of the sea you can possibly imagine. Well, the roots of our karmic connections go even deeper than that. What this really gets at is that we can't always figure out why things are the way they are right now. The causes might have been set in motion a long, long time ago, in a past so deep it's just impossible for us to see.
And finally, karma is a barrier to enlightenment. This one makes the whole concept super practical. You know those obstacles we keep running into? Those negative patterns we just can't seem to shake? These teachings say those are karmic walls that we built ourselves, piece by piece. They create all this mental static that clouds our thinking. In fact, they're seen as the single biggest thing getting in the way of finding real wisdom.
So, that brings us to our second section. We're going to shift from this huge cosmic force to something incredibly personal. I mean, if karma is this massive, who's responsible for it? Well, the answer is strict and it's simple. You are, and only you. This quote from the source text is just, wow. It's a really stark reminder of how individual karma is. It's saying that even the closest bond we can imagine, a parent and a child, can't transfer this stuff. When it comes down to it, everyone walks their own path, a path that's defined completely by their own actions.
Yep, there's no outsourcing your karma. You can't share the load. Every single effect, whether it's good or bad, traces right back to a cause that you created. And you alone are going to experience the result. It's really a teaching of absolute, radical, personal responsibility.
And this leads to a pretty serious warning against that thought we all have sometimes. It's just a small thing. It doesn't matter. The text uses this beautiful analogy. Think about how tiny individual drops of water will, over time, eventually fill up the biggest bucket you can find. It's the same with our actions. Those small, seemingly meaningless misdeeds, they add up. And over time, they create this huge reservoir of consequences. Okay, so this brings up a huge question, probably one you're thinking right now. If karma's real, why do we see good people suffer? And why do some people seem to get away with doing terrible things? Well, the answer is all in its unseen and often very, very long timeline.
See, an action, once it's done, is kind of like planting a seed. That seed doesn't just vanish. It just lies dormant, waiting in the soil of your life. It might wait for a few days, a few years, or maybe even lifetimes for the perfect conditions, the right weather, so to speak, to finally sprout.
And this slide breaks it down perfectly. This is the 3 timings of consequence. So some karmic seeds, as you can see, sprout really fast. We see the results in this life. Then you have others that are set to ripen in the very next life. And then there are some that might take hundreds, maybe even thousands of lifetimes before all the conditions are just right for them to finally bear fruit. This is what explains that seeming randomness of good and bad luck we see all around us.
So after hearing all of this, the sheer weight of it, the strict personal responsibility, the crazy long timeline, it might be easy to feel a little helpless, a bit fatalistic. But the texts are really clear. That is completely missing the point. The true purpose of understanding karma isn't to make you afraid, it's to empower you with wisdom.
So here's the bottom line. Why does any of this matter? Well, knowing this stuff is like someone handing you a lamp in a pitch-black room. Suddenly, you can see where you're going and avoid tripping. It gives you a deep sense of responsibility, showing you that every single action is a deliberate stroke in the blueprint of your own future. And you know what else? Seeing how this affects everyone, it can inspire this profound sense of compassion for all of us, trying to navigate this complex reality together.
So really, the whole point of this teaching isn't to scare you into being a good person. It's to wake you up. It's about making that incredible shift from a life of just unconsciously reacting to everything to a life of conscious, deliberate creation.
And that leaves us with one final question to think about. If every action, every word, every single thought is a seed that you are planting in the garden of your life, what kind of garden are you planting today?